Okay, there's noise in your background.
Still?
Yeah. Quite loud too.
I mean, there's no actual noise here. There's nothing I can do about that.
Okay. Okay.
Let me hold on. Let me see if I can go to my recording settings. Recording devices.
Okay. So, hey, hello everyone, and welcome to Moving Frames, a new live streaming multimedia online radio show, from which I hope you get much value. Thank you for showing up. This is Moreno with Vancouver Media Marketing, broadcasting from out of Port Moody, 25 kilometers east of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I want to acknowledge those people that are with us today.
Like me.
We have Rosalind Millwood. Welcome. Steve Payne. Welcome. And others that I don't see their names. Okay. So this Blab Radio Show is to find out by talking to business owners how adding video to their marketing mix can help their business. Today, to mix things up and keep things interesting, I have invited Andrew to talk to us about the information garbage surrounding Twitter. I'm not going to read from Andrew's bio, just to put things in perspective. He's the CEO of Cascade Media. He's been consulting on Twitter strategy and content for 4 years. His goal is to help small businesses clear through the cloud of garbage information that has been surrounding Twitter marketing, so that businesses can increase their customer base without oversaturating their marketing channels. So to get the most out of today's show, we will keep our chat on topic. And I encourage everyone on the show to get involved by asking questions. On the lower right-hand column, you see you can type in your question, type in a slash followed by a capital Q and your question, and we will address your question during the show. To create some interaction, I encourage people to give us props. Click on the images and you will give us hands. If we say anything of interest, if there's anything that's not so interesting, if you agree with it, disagree, whatever, show some interaction, some involvement. We greatly appreciate that. Fantastic. Look at that. All right. Okay.
Nice.
Very nice. Yes. So Andrew, are you ready?
Yeah,
So
why not?
Yeah, before I'm going to start asking you specific questions, I have a set. I would like you to give us an overview, a quick understanding of what you mean by this garbage that is surrounding Twitter, garbage of information. Can you put that in perspective for us?
All right. So there's two big myths that are kind of cloud Twitter marketing. The first one is that your tweets are really important, right? You want viral content on Twitter. You want to be funny or very insightful or something like that. And the other one is that your follower count is super important. And I mean, to an extent it is, and we'll talk a bit about this later, hopefully later. But it's not the most important measure that you should be looking at for Twitter marketing success and getting business through Twitter. So those are the big two. There's a bunch of other stuff. I mean, we're sure we'll talk about. Things that screen certain people from messaging you on Twitter. How to engage in a conversation, how to jump in the middle of a conversation, how to reach your target audience. Yeah, but I mean that's all just, it's very general information. The big two that you really need to look out for is having great tweets and oh man, I just forgot the other one. Having a large following, right? So those are the two main things that people think is important, but it usually is not important at all.
Right. I just want to address this question, which is a little bit off topic, but it is about Blab, which is the new multimedia stream that we're using. Mac from SEO Tips is asking, how does Blab tie into Twitter? My understanding is that Twitter operates Blab or controls Blab. I also understand that Joel Comm, he is the originator of Blab, which was introduced around August last year and is going very strong. And Mac also asks, does Blab scan your Twitter account for initial number of followers? Well, I think that to participate in Blab, one needs a Twitter account. So there is that connection. Okay.
But I don't think it actually brings in your followers, because I have like, I don't know, on this account, my Cascade Media one, a couple hundred followers on Twitter, and I have I think 2 followers on Blab. So I mean, you need a Twitter account to have a Blab account, but the followers don't convert.
Okay. I see that Sunflower or Sunlove 43 Sun wanted to opt in and be on one of the videos, one of the quadrants.
Sure.
So if Sunlove 43 Sun would like to participate, call in again. Andrew, first question.
Yeah.
What are the biggest traps that people get into when marketing on Twitter?
So actually, this very much relates to the garbage information. So the first one is the follow game, right? So I mean, the follow game, basically what this is you follow a bunch of people, and some people will follow back, right? Anywhere between, depending on how popular their account is, 30 and 1%, right? If you have very good following to followers ratio, more people will follow back. But that's not important. What is important is when you follow a bunch of people, right? A bunch of them are going to follow back, and that's great, but they're not engaged followers. So when you basically what you're doing is you're sacrificing your social proof for more followers, and that is great. But those followers don't always convert to either customers or fans or people who sell your product, right? So the first trap is that follower game. We're going to talk about an alternative in a second to that. The second one is spam. So you see this a lot with YouTubers. A lot of I want to say hip hop producers type of thing. There's a lot of SEO accounts that do this. What it is when you follow, they immediately try and send you a link or sell you something. And I get it. You do want to sell things over Twitter. That's why we're all here talking about Twitter marketing. But you have to build trust first, right? Have a conversation. So I mean, have an auto message. That's great, but don't have it. Hey, thanks for following. Check out this link for this thing, right? And it's like, well, I don't know you. I don't know if that link you're going to send me to is going to give me malware. It's not really working, right? So I mean, because that's been so common, a lot of people on Twitter have started downloading Gatekeeper for their messages. It's not called Gatekeeper, but it is a Gatekeeper. We'll talk a bit about this program later and how much I don't like it, but. So yeah, the immediate follow spam type of selling trap. So those are our 2 big ones. And I guess the third one is Roland. Yeah, Roland hates that approach, right? The third one is either too many tweets or not enough tweets, because the tweets they're trying to get out are They think they need to be really high quality. So too many tweets is, if you're tweeting like every 10 minutes, it's probably a little much, right? I mean, there are certain accounts that do this, and they do it very well. But for most people, they're not on Twitter every 10 minutes. They go on, maximum every 30. Every 30 would be a little better than every 10, but every 10 is too much, right? If you're tweeting that much, reduce it down. The other example is, if you're tweeting once a week, no one cares, right? You're not building enough of a rapport with people who follow you for anyone to really care about what you're talking about. So a lot of businesses I work with, they've been saying, we're trying to get good tweets out. How often do you do tweets? Oh, once or twice a week, and it doesn't build any sort of relationship with their audience. So if that's the case, do less quality tweets, just more of them, or just engage with the people who follow you. Have a conversation, because even that having a conversation is better than 1 or 2 tweets out a week, right?
Right. So Andrew, you're the Twitter expert. Are you aware of the questions that Roland is asking on the lower right-hand side?
On the lower right. Also, a lot of retweets at once. Yeah. So it's actually funny that there's 2 types of people that do that. One are people who get paid to retweet, right? You can go on to websites to get these. There's Fiverr's one of them. I don't know. There's a bunch of just regular follower stuff that does this, right? You post a tweet, you send the link to them, and they get just retweet it, right? So, but they do it all at the same time because they're all connected to a single piece of software. So those are the first people. And when that happens, you just go and unfollow them, but recognize that that's not a real person. The other one is when people, these are genuine people who do this, is they go on and they've just been on their feed, like they go on, I don't know, maybe once or twice a day, but when they're on there, their feed is so gold, right? Like every tweet they see is amazing. And they just go through, oh, I really like that, favorite retweet, right? They go down, oh, favorite retweet. Don't get me wrong, retweets are great. That's part of what makes Twitter, so important. But if you do more than 2 retweets in, a 5-minute period, take a break, right? You can always go back to those, that person's page that you're retweeting, right, and retweet it in 30 minutes. And the same audience will not see it, so it's not going to, annoy a bunch of people. But, the bunch of retweets in a 5-minute period, no one likes that.
Okay, Andrew, I see that there's a question here from Spinelli who wants to ask about how one can make money from the system. We're going to, one of the questions that I have, we'll address that very shortly. So when we get to it, we will answer his question. The next question that I'd like to address is this one here. How do we build a community on Twitter, which is pretty much what you've been talking about? If you can elaborate on that a little bit more.
Yeah, so building a community on Twitter is actually the best way to build a customer base through Twitter and also increase your regular customer base, because people are more likely to recommend companies on Twitter than they are through email marketing or Facebook, right? They're almost twice as likely to recommend a company or business on Twitter than they are on Facebook, right? So it's super important to actually build a community on Twitter that wants to recommend what you're doing, right? And to do that, you have to build a community, right? So in short, the way to build a community is engage with people, right? Now, that's kind of a crappy thing to say because, there's a bunch of ways to engage with people. So the first thing you should do is, there is hashtags. So you can search for hashtags that are relevant to your business, right? Or actually, it would actually be better if they're relevant to your customer, because people who are using those hashtags are also potentially your customers, right? But the thing is, I've been not really a big supporter of using hashtags, right? They were great when Twitter started, but now, I mean, they're there, but they're not as important as they once were, right? So the other thing you could do is use the search function. And this is definitely one of the least utilized tools on Twitter, because almost all Twitter accounts are public. You can go to the search bar and actually search for the phrases that your customers are saying, right? So I'm gonna give you an example. If I was a web hosting company, like I hosted web pages, I might look at phrases like "my website is down," right? Because people whose website is down are more likely to look for new web hosts than just people talking about websites or people using hashtag websites, right? So I could search that and actually just engage with the people who are tweeting there, right? But that's just the first level, right? Let's say if I engage with someone who used the phrase "my website is down," I'm also going to want to follow them, right? Because if their website's been down once and they didn't switch over, they're more likely to switch over on the second time their website's down, maybe the third time. But if I follow them on Twitter and I put them into a list or something like that, that allows me to see, I can go onto everyone who's in that list and tweeting, right? And I can engage with those people more often. So I'm going to try and explain this a little better. I'm explaining it in a bit of an abstract way. If someone says, my website's down, and I add them to this list, right? And let's say I get 50 people who have said my website's down on this list, right? I can go into this list every day and actually look at that list more than I look at my standard Twitter feed. Because my Twitter feed may also be, potential suppliers or, people I may want to do a deal with rather than just straight customers, right? So on a day-to-day basis, I may not look at my feed, but I may look at this list and this list and this list with less people on them, but the people who are on them, I know exactly what I want to talk to them about, right? So if I add them to these lists, I can talk with them later and engage with them. And if something does happen with their website at a later date, right, not only did I engage with them the first time, but I re-engaged with them between the time their website went down the first time and the time their website went down the second time, right? So there's not just some guy pandering to them when things go wrong. This is someone who, was looking out for them when things went wrong, but also was there when things were fine, right? And you're more likely to buy from someone who talks to you on a regular basis than someone who just wants to talk to you when they can sell you something.
Okay, Andrew, before I get on to the next more interesting question, I want to thank Roland and Mac for tweeting Little Bird, and I suggest that everyone else here as well tweet their customer base so we can get as many people involved as possible. And don't forget to give us props. The more props, the better. The more props Andrew gets, the more encouraged he is to give us hot answers.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a fiend for those props.
Now try this one for size, this question.
Sure.
Many people want to know how they can become Twitter famous.
So this actually is it's common. People want to become Twitter famous, and it's really easy. Right? I mean, it's easy. You gotta have there's a bit of a long-term thing involved, but it's actually really easy. The answer is find a very, very specific niche and then work that niche until you're famous, right? So I'm going to give you two examples of Twitter famous accounts that went famous. It took them a while, but once they hit a certain point, they just went viral and exploded. So the first one is called Big Ben. I think it's at Big Ben. It's a Twitter account. It's one of my favorite Twitter accounts, and I don't even understand why it's my favorite, but it's hysterical. All it is a picture of it's a drawn picture of Big Ben clock. In I think it's in London. It's I don't know, but it makes noises at each o'clock. So at 1 o'clock it makes one bong, right? Just the clock does, right? But the Twitter account Big Ben does the same thing. So if you go to it at 1 o'clock in the UK, it tweets bong, right? As if like someone hit a bell, right? At 2 o'clock, it goes bong, bong, right? At 3 o'clock, it goes bong, 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 right? And that's all it is. It tweets nothing other than bong, depending on what time it is in the UK. And this account, I think, has like 300,000 Twitter followers. They may be up to 1 million at this point. I mean, we could do a quick search. Big Ben. Big _Ben _ clock. And it has almost 500,000 followers, right? So, I mean, just it's not like it adds a whole lot of value to people. It's kind of funny. People follow it. It's in their feed. They get a good chuckle out of it every time they see it. But every single tweet gets a lot of retweets just because they think it's so funny. But because they had that very specific niche, people know exactly what they're looking at every time that's on their feed, right? The next one, go ahead.
Are you Twitter famous?
Not yet. So I'm developing a Twitter account that we project to be Twitter famous over an 8-month period of time. Right. I can't tell you about it. We're just finishing up the software that was going to generate the tweets. But once it's out, I hope to be back on the show to tell you about it. It's a really good idea. I'm super excited to announce it once it's finally here. Right. But number two, the second account I go to for Twitter famous is something called Birds on a Keyboard, I think it's called. And what they do is they put bird like seed or like this. I don't know what it is. It's like a brick of bird food. And they put it over a keyboard. They put that keyboard outside in the winter and hook it up to a Twitter account. And every time it reaches 140 characters, it immediately presses send, right? And you could go online. I'm sure there are feeds of this happening. Links to Coffee Mugs. There you go. That's how it's monetized. Yeah. But what Birds on a Keyboard did is every time it reaches 140 characters, they click send, right? And it's nonsense tweets. There's no... I think at one point I saw the word "ate" as an ATE in one of those tweets just because it was randomly, eaten by a bird, which is kind of funny when you think about it. But the minute you saw birds on a keyboard, you knew exactly what they were doing. There's just bird food on a keyboard, and birds are pecking at the keyboard, and that's what's tweeting on this account, right? And so I'm actually going to tell you how they monetize both of them. So Mac down here in the messages says. Yeah. Big Ben links to coffee mugs and T-shirts, right? Yeah, it's just in the description. There's in their bio, there's a link. You click it, go to a page, you can buy some stuff, right? And that's definitely a good way to monetize a Twitter account. There's a few other ways, but that's one of them. Birds on a Keyboard. Once they got to a certain level of followers, they sold the account, right? They sold it to some affiliate marketer who, of course, ruined it, right? But, they made a couple million on that sale. So that's pretty okay, I think, for someone just putting a keyboard outside with some birdseed on it, making some money. That's I call that a win.
So, Andrew, can we address this burning question from Mr. Spinola about how to make money, hence my next question here. Now that I'm Twitter famous, how do I make money on Twitter?
Excellent. So there's a few ways to do this. We just looked at Big Ben. Yeah. Just putting a link in your description or your bio or whatever it is, right? The second one is sell the Twitter account. I've done that a few times. I've built up a Twitter account and then sold it to various artists or promotion companies or whatever, and that works too. You can always sell the Twitter account.
How many followers did you have?
Honestly, here's the thing. On that account, I only had 1,000 followers, and I sold it for $5,000, right? Which seems a little weird, but all the followers were super duper engaged, right? And this was my first company, but every tweet I had 50 or so retweets and 20 engagements, right? And they were all in this super niche in this geographical area, right? So a company in that geographical area who was also in that niche was just like, hey, can we buy the account? And we just went, yeah, absolutely. Here's the price we want. And like, how about this price? And we said, how about this price? And they're like, great, fantastic. And they wrote us a check. So that's definitely the second way to make money. The third way is driving traffic. So who does this? IFL Science. UberFacts. UberFacts is actually really good with this. They make a lot of money, but they also have a website. So we'll talk about that in a second. But a lot of these Twitter accounts you can actually pay. It's sort of like an advertising thing, and they'll tweet, right, something that they know their audience will enjoy their tweet, and then have a link and drive people to that page. And for every person who clicks that link, they get paid. Whether it's 1 cent, 5 cents, 20 cents, whatever it is. Right, not important, but you set that price. And there's affiliate sales, and you can go out and find an affiliate product, and then drive your audience to that page, similar to the advertising thing. But at least you get to choose what you're promoting. So if you have let's say the web hosting again, right? So if the web hosting company had a huge Twitter following, then suddenly goes, right, we want to make some money on affiliate sales. They may drive traffic to a company, like an affiliate product that makes websites, right? Who knows? But it's a related product that their audience might like. And if they buy it, then that Twitter account earns money, right? And then there's, of course, the classical network marketing way to make money through Twitter, and that's just have conversations with people and then say, hey, you know what, I'm selling this product. For a lot of people, that makes sense. They don't have systems in place to auto-generate money from their Twitter account, so they're just looking to monetize individual back and forth interactions. Yeah, those are the main 5 ways to make money on Twitter.
Would you say that you've addressed Steve's question?
Is there a Twitter account marketplace for selling? Not that I'm aware of. I pretty much just I reach out to people I want to sell the account to, right? If you know what your audience is, there's some demographic research you can do. You can actually just go, okay, who want to buy this thing? Send them an email. Hey, I have this Twitter account. You can either then sell them individual tweets. We'll go, okay, we'll do 1 tweet a week, not on your behalf, but to one of your pages for X amount, or you could just buy the account off us, type of thing. But not that I'm aware of. There's a Twitter account marketplace.
I just want to remind everyone that if you have a question, can you please enter your question on the lower right-hand side, preceded by a slash and a Q, and then it will appear in the question section on the other side of the page. So /Q and your question, and then we can address it.
Absolutely.
Okay. The next question is Twitter as big a waste of time as Facebook?
The answer is yes and no. And you're probably going to hate that answer, but I'll elaborate. So Twitter can be much more of a waste of time than Facebook. You can spend your whole day on Twitter. Then I'm gonna add the no after. So remind me to add the no in case I forget. So Twitter has no filtering algorithm. So 100% of the people you follow show up on your feed when they tweet, right? It's got that chronological or reverse chronological thing going on, right? This is great. You never miss anything. The problem is there's so much information. You always miss it. Hold on, I had a call coming in. But anyways, so there's so much information that you're constantly trying to keep up, right? So you could seriously just sit, at work on Twitter scrolling the whole day and still, depending on how many people you follow, never reach the top, right? So yes, Twitter is definitely more of a waste of time in that sense. On the other sense, on Twitter, people are more likely to recommend, your brand, right? So, I sent you an infographic. It actually shows some statistics on this, but 33% of Twitter followers will recommend a brand versus 21% of Facebook likers, right? So, the value of Twitter followers better than the value is higher than the value of a Facebook like, right? And companies put a lot of money into getting Facebook likes, but not a lot of time into getting Twitter followers.
Andrew.
Yeah.
I see there are 2 related texts here. The one says that when she or he doesn't tweet, their followers drop off. And then what Max says, that a bit of Twitter automation can keep your account active and growing. So there obviously needs to be some participation, some interaction. Otherwise, like everything else, it dies off.
Yeah, there does. You need to tweet once or twice a day, right?
That's
need to be. Yeah, I mean, it's a given, right? So you have to tweet once or twice a day. They don't need to be the best tweets in the world. Well, excuse me. But there needs to be tweets, right? So your followers know you still exist. And if you don't tweet in a while, then you do tweet. People kind of forget they followed you and go, well, I don't remember following this person. I'm going to unfollow them. So yeah, you do need to tweet every day, right? Lucky for us is we do, live in a world where we can automate this type of thing. So let's go with my example with a web hosting company, right? So the web hosting company, yeah, they go on and try and think of two things to tweet about a day, and that's fine. But for most businesses who don't know how to use Twitter or what to tweet about, that's difficult. So what it's possible to do is hook up like a feed. So if you follow a few blogs that are very very good with their content, right, pertaining to your brand. So in this case, with the web hosting, these are web hosting blogs who talk about emerging trends in the internet, right? You can actually just get that so that when those blogs make a post, it sends it out through your Twitter channel. As in, it just says the title and then there's a link. And if your followers, care about web hosting, like in this example they do, they're gonna click on that, or at least see that you're tweeting, right, and go, okay, they're still there, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of tweets can be automated, right? But the other thing is, even if you don't want to automate your account, and a lot of people don't, like, it's like, I don't want to automate it, I don't want to send them a bunch of links all the time, just interact with people, right? You can always go onto your Twitter and look at the feed and just, favorite, then reply to someone, right? And doing that is, it's a great way to build your community, but then you're also tweeting out.
Andrew.
Yes.
I see that everything that's been said up to now about Twitter hasn't pleased Mr. Spinola because he thinks it's still useless.
Okay. Sure.
But that's not to comment on. It's just to bring it to our attention. There are still some people that don't find a need for it or any benefit in using it.
Well, here's the thing. Social media has a 100% higher return on investment than outbound marketing. So that's billboards, that's newspapers, that's radio ads, that's TV ads, 100% higher return on investment.
Because of interaction.
Yeah, well, and besides, people want to engage with their favorite brands on social media. No one wants to listen to an ad on TV, right? When Breaking Bad was on and I had to wait for commercials, I'd change the channel. Like, I don't want to see that commercial at all. If I'm listening to the radio and a commercial comes on, I switch the station, right? If I didn't want to see my favorite brand on Twitter, I'd unfollow them. But I still follow them because I want to see them there.
See, that's the advantage of social media marketing, that it's non-interrupted marketing.
Exactly. You
go there if you want it. And this leads me to the next question. Like all social media that has been happening over the last decade, say, much of it has come and gone. Some has been cannibalized by bigger ones, bought out by bigger ones, but certainly with social media, it's not static. It's not here forever. Not even many people are asking about this new live streaming media that we're now using, Blab. It's very popular now. It's growing. The question, though, is how much longer? Is it going to continue? When will it die?
So this one's a little difficult to answer, but yeah, all social media's die at some point, right? We're seeing this type of thing with Facebook. We saw it with MySpace. The trick is to keep innovating, right? Twitter's done a pretty good job with innovating, although the Twitter itself is having a bit of difficulty. So Twitter is probably, I don't know, maybe it might be 3, 4, 5 years unless some serious change happens. The problem is with Twitter is again the reverse chronological order. So because every tweet shows up on your feed, it's a lot of information, and people get information fatigue, and they just kind of check out. They go through their feed just scrolling. So, yeah, so it's a lot of information. But Twitter's kept up by bringing things on board like Vine, Periscope. They're of course Blab. So they're able to keep up a bit with that type of thing. But Twitter itself, unless major changes happen, I mean, we could see the end of it in 3 to 5 years. The nice thing is, I mean, they are making serious changes, right? It's starting to look like BlackBerry, absolutely, yeah. I mean, they're making serious changes. So this year they changed it from like to favorite. Although that's not a big change, it really didn't do much. They added in the polls function, so you can now poll your followers, and that gets a lot more engagement than the standard tweets do. They're actually thinking of changing the whole 140 character limit. So the CEO of Twitter has said they may go to a 10,000 word limit. I don't know how well that's going to turn out. They may have it's kind of like a tweet, but if you click on any tweet, it suddenly pops open. But it's still, that's even more information and not less information.
That's what isn't that what makes Twitter so popular, that it's limited to 140 characters? I mean, people are inundated, overwhelmed by the amount of information, so they welcome something which is limited. So if it's going to expand, then we're back to what we were before.
Exactly. It would turn into a Facebook thing or I don't know, a Tumblr thing, right? So I don't know how well that would work out. A lot of, I mean, they've stuck really hard with their guns for the reverse chronological order, and just everyone who tweets immediately shows up at the top of the feed. Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of pressure from a lot of big companies that say they need to get an algorithm in there to filter out a lot of it. They seem to want to stick with reverse chronological order.
Andrew.
So, yes.
Can you quickly tell us about TrueTwit? What is TrueTwit?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so TrueTwit is this, I talked about this earlier. It's this gatekeeping app, right? So people install TrueTwit, and it prevents messages from being sent to them because they found that spam was really annoying. And don't get me wrong, I totally understand Twitter spam being annoying, right? I mean, I see it all the time, and it almost never works. In fact, I've never heard an example where someone said, "Man, I send a message to all my new followers, and suddenly I'm this huge famous person." I've never heard of it, right? So, what this company did is that they set up this gatekeeping software. So anytime someone sends them a message or even just follows them, it just sends out a message that goes, "So and so uses TrueTwit validation services." Right? In order to send this person a message, please click here. What happens is you click there, and you have to type in this CAPTCHA code. So those things that validate that you're a human being, not a robot. And then you have to sign up for TrueTwit, right? So it then starts gatekeeping the messages being sent to you. So people think that, okay, this fixes my problem. I'm not getting spam anymore, not realizing that they're now doing the spamming, right? And it kind of just pisses off your followers, just like regular spam would. So does TrueTwit do anything? Yeah, it definitely prevents you from getting messages, or it's just annoying. It's mostly just annoying. If you have TrueTwit, remove it from your Twitter account. You can actually just go into plugins and just go remove plugin or whatever it is, right? I don't use TrueTwit. I wouldn't recommend anyone I know use TrueTwit. It's not effective. I mean, it's effective. It's just not helpful for why you're getting it, right? You're contributing to the spam problem and not removing it.
What about this? I have an out of the ordinary question, which I'm now going to put up.
Does anyone do business on Twitter? Yeah. So, cam girls are great on Twitter, right? You'll get 1,000 cam girls following you in a 5-minute period, but a lot of business gets done on Twitter besides cam girls. So a lot of musicians, they get a lot of fans to Twitter. In fact, that's the #1 way for musicians to find new fans is Twitter. Same with YouTubers, right? So if you have a YouTube channel you want people to go to and subscribe to, you're most likely to find new followers on Twitter. What is cam girls? You know those very attractive ladies who do things on camera for money? Yeah, that is a cam girl. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure they get a lot of business on Twitter too, but I mean, there's a lot of SEO guys that get a lot of business on Twitter. Who else? I mean, every account I manage gets a lot of business, and that's a huge variety of products and services. Everything from environmental separation to SEO, of course, web hosting. Right? I wouldn't use that example if I hadn't proved it. Nutritional supplements, gold. It doesn't matter, right? Everything. There's a lot of business as long as you're. Of course, we talked about this earlier. Building a community, engaging people, tweeting out regularly. You can generate a lot of business that way. Absolutely.
Andrew, can you address William's question?
William, what is the software called that requires clients to tweet to get a download? It depends on where's the download. So there's I know for audio, if it's on SoundCloud, what was it called? It's like radio.io. I looked into it a few months ago. Yeah, it depends on what the download is. One of my email stubs. Oh, yeah, I'm not sure. You'd have to. Yeah, I'd have to look into that one. There's a bunch that are out there. You can Google it. There's one guy calls it Content Locker. Also, Tweet Gates, Subscriber Gates. There's a lot of different terms for it. But if you Google tweet to download software on Google, you'll find 5 or 6 different examples. And you'll probably see a list of a page that went the best tweet to download software on the internet, and there's a top 10 list or something like that.
I also want to make another suggestion that after the show, William can contact you on your contact details that we're going to supply at the end of the show, if she wants to follow up with you.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can always message me on Twitter. I wouldn't be talking about Twitter if I wasn't on there, right? But yeah, we'll give out the contents, the contact details at the end, and you always send me an email.
Thank you. The next question that we have is, if you only have a little time a week, what's the best thing that you can do on Twitter? The best thing that you can
engage, right? So when you set up your Twitter account, if you know you're not going to be, if you have 5 minutes a week, right? There are macros you can set up that will, post out feeds or stuff like that. There are some that can auto find, new potential customers for you, and you're going to want to engage with those people. It will add them to a list, and you just go on that list and engage with as many people as you can, right? That's it. So when I came up with a Twitter strategy that allows my customers, these are the ones who didn't want me to manage their Twitter, but also, needed some serious Twitter help. And so between that gap between, okay, we need a lot of Twitter help and we can afford for you to manage our Twitter, there's a space. So what I did is I came up with a strategy that finds potential customers, adds them to a list, and if they go on for 5 minutes a day or 5 minutes a week, right, and follow those people and engage with those people, right, every single week, make sure you're still followed, make sure you're still engaging with all those people. Within a 6-month period, you'll have a serious Twitter community that they'll want to buy your product, right? And so yeah, that's the strategy. Is if you can go to IFTTT and set up a macro, and what this you can do is if someone tweets whatever, I'm going to pick on web hosting again, and if they tweet, my website is down, then add them to Twitter list. And then if that company wanted to go on once a week for 5 minutes, go through that Twitter list and reply to a bunch of people who have tweeted, and that's it, every single week, right? That would do very well for them, right? They'd get a community of people who have websites that have been down in the past, and they've been vocal about it on Twitter, so that the next time something goes down and they're peeved and want to be vocal about it again, they already know of you. You've engaged them a few times. You're not pandering anything, and when they decide to switch, they may seriously consider you, right? So that would be definitely the best thing is engage with potential customers.
Andrew, one final question, very interesting question,
sure.
Which is as follows: what percentage of famous people really create their own tweets?
Are we gonna include like Twitter famous people in this, or
celebrities?
Okay, so probably I want to say 0, but it kind of depends. So there are some. I'm gonna say, I don't know, maybe around 5%. It's not high. Some musicians do. For example, like Deadmau5. Deadmau5 is definitely, he creates all of his tweets. But for every Deadmau5, there's an Armin van Buuren or Skrillex or something like that has a social media team that produces canned tweets. Another example, Ashton Kutcher. Right, Ashton Kutcher is one of the most followed person on Twitter. When he started his Twitter account, I'm sure he did do all those tweets. But now that it's at the level that it is, and his Twitter account earns money by itself, he has a team creating those tweets. Right, I highly doubt Ashton Kutcher is tweeting 10 times a day. Given his schedule, I mean, the guy runs several charities. It's unlikely, right? So maybe 5%, probably less. But most of them just have a team for that, right? I mean, there's big companies that do this sort of thing for celebrities. So, yeah.
Andrew, I just at the bottom here, I'm giving people your contact information.
Sure.
Why is it not going through? All right, doesn't want to go through. So we'll try that again shortly.
Sure.
Andrew, now that we've covered Twitter, what we had intended to, I want to ask you a little bit about video content marketing, how you see adding video to your content, your marketing mix can help your business. Right, for example, at the moment, are you using videos in your marketing? And yes, how?
Not with Cascade, at least not yet, right? With a lot of my clients, yeah, we are. I mean, video is the most effective form of advertising right now. So if you're on Facebook, right? Video ads do way better than picture ads or just posts. YouTube ads have been doing better than Google Word AdWords and Google AdSense for a long time at this point, right? So as for Cascade Media, we're not using anything just yet. We're gonna be rolling that out this year. What we're doing with video. So it's definitely something we're going to be doing, and we should be doing, really, because this is the year for it.
Okay, for those of you who want to get get in touch with Andrew, here is his website, cascade.media, and this is his email address. It will go through in a moment. There we are. That's Andrew's email address for those of you who want to follow up with him. So just to summarize, what would you say are the 3 greatest benefits that you see in using videos in your marketing? Just the 3 top ones, the salient ones.
Okay, so engagement. People they engage more with video content than they do with picture content or GIF content or text content, right? So definitely engagement is the first one.
Engagement.
Yeah, 3 benefits. Effectiveness, right? Video marketing or videos in general have a much higher return on investment in the past, but now it's because it's videos available on almost every platform. People don't want to see pictures as much. They don't want to read as much. I mean, I've been a strong contender against reading content for at least, I don't know, 3 years. Like, just take it off the internet, put it into a video, put it on YouTube. So effectiveness, getting the clicks, as well as people like video. They don't
It's
like
the easiest to consume. It's entertaining.
Exactly, it's the easiest to consume. There's the barrier to entry to consume that content is the lowest, right? You just click it and then the content just shows itself to you. So I mean, I recommend everyone use video starting this year, right? If you haven't in the past, you may have gotten away with it in the past, but now there's no excuse. On every social media platform, video is the #1 performing medium, period, right? Maybe 2 years from now, it may be 360 video, but that's still video, right? You don't have an excuse anymore. Video is the #1 performing medium.
How do you produce video for your business?
For our business, so with Cascade Media, we haven't been doing video yet, but we're going to be doing a combination of live streaming, so Periscope. We're doing Vines, and then we're actually making like info marketing videos. So we're going to be filming various pieces of information, how-to stuff, and putting that on YouTube.
So that's like what you're currently doing. Do you have a plan for the future?
Nothing concrete, but it's looking like halfway through this year, we're going to be putting out 2 videos a month on various types of marketing, how to this type of marketing, how to this type of marketing, and just putting that on YouTube, because that's one of the most searched terms on YouTube. YouTube is how to whatever.
So if you have the option, would you do it in-house or outsource your video?
Outsource, 100%. So.
Really?
Well, absolutely. Because here's the thing. I mean, I might be able to produce some video, right? I got a camera. I might be able to get a boom mic, right? Get the right lighting, rent it in. But there's a lot of trial and error. I have to learn a bunch of stuff in order to get like the super high quality content you want with video. Because if you're low quality content, people are gonna bounce real quick. Like, oh yeah, it's kind of fuzzy. There's a bunch of noise in the background. It's funny that I talk about noise in the background. I'm the king of that in the stream. But without, if it's lower quality, people are going to run away, right? So always outsource it to someone else who knows what they're doing. You're not going to have to learn about it, so you can keep working on what you're good at and let someone else who's really good at video focus on your video for you, right? So
yes.
Always 100% of the time, outsource it to someone who knows what they're doing.
See, making video is easy. Making marketing videos is not easy.
No, exactly. Anyone can make a video. Everyone has a cell phone. You click record and point it at the thing, right? If you want a video that people like to watch and watch again and show their friends, find someone who's a video marketer and say, hey, this is what I want to do, and they'll go, great, we can do that for you, right? But I mean, if you're going to make it yourself, you're going to waste your time and money.
All right. We've actually pretty much run out of time, and we need to start wrapping things up now. So for those viewers who want to keep in touch with you, we've given them your website and email address. And to keep in touch with me, I think earlier on somebody asked for my YouTube account. Correct?
That was me. I asked for your YouTube account.
Yeah. So here it is. There we are. And what I also have is a newsletter where every week I send out a short 1 page of information related to the creation, development, production of video, and also the promotion of video online. It's easy to consume information. It's in point form, so it's not overwhelming. And every week you get an update, and over time you get a overall clear understanding of what is involved, what it all encompasses. And this is the link to subscribe to my newsletter. Okay, there we are. Let's take this off. Okay. So we are now done.
Done.
There.
We're not live streaming anymore?
We are done. It's complete.
Oh. Excellent.
And we can Twitter about it. You send me a tweet and I'll send you one. You send me one, I'll send you one.
Sure, that sounds fair.
So Andrew, thank you. We will be in touch. And thank you everyone for watching, for being online. And until next Saturday at 2 p.m., we hope to see you again. I'm Moreno from Vancouver Media Marketing. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye. It was great.